to the Review Podcast, and I'm Pilar.
My name is Ryan.
And today we'll be discussing Greta Gerwig's 2017 film, Lady Bird.
Yes, so Lady Bird is kind of a conventional coming-of-age tale about a not-so-conventional teenage girl, one Christine Lady Bird McPherson. Lady Bird wants nothing more than to go where the culture is. That's one of the things that she says. She believes that somewhere on the East Coast, or Paris, or really anywhere but here in Sacramento, under the wing of her overbearing mother. By the end, she has made it to New York City, but this newfound freedom garners her an unexpected clarity of appreciation, both for the town that she grew up in, and most importantly, for her mother. Yeah. So let's get started with kind of describing some of the most prominent characters. Pilar, you want to start there?
All right. Well, the leading character is the title of the film, yes. Lady Bird, Christine. She is a rambunctious high schooler who is between being a sophomore.
She's
junior and senior.
It's her senior year. Actually.
Yeah.
It follows her senior year.
Yeah. And we're kind of going through her senior year with her, kind of experiencing her life. And she's one of those characters who is like, doesn't quite fall into manic pixie dream girl, but she definitely has quirky tendencies, and she kind of trembles between wanting to be cool but still trying to be unique.
Yeah, that's how I put it.
And second to her is her mother, Marion McPherson, and she's, I believe, a nurse at the psych ward or like section of a hospital. Yeah. She deals with a lot of mental health, and her herself has been described as scary but warm, and you can definitely see that in the film. She has a big heart. She does have a big heart.
As a refrain.
Marion does kind of allude that she comes from a family that was somewhat abusive, and so I think it does make sense that she would go into a field that deals with mental health to help others, and her herself has had to learn to be a little bit more sheltered with her emotions, but still actively tries to communicate with her family. Julie, who is Lady Bird's best friend, is one of those friends who has a lot of talent and potential, but she is overshadowed by Lady Bird's kind of outspoken character, and so she kind of is like Lady Bird's kind of hype man, and she's constantly putting herself down in order to lift other people around her, even though she herself is fantastic. Person.
Very talented, and intelligent.
Next up, we have the two boyfriends that Lady Bird happens to fall in love with throughout her senior year. We have Danny, who is played by Lucas Hedges. This is Lady Bird's first love. He's very sweet, very chivalrous.
Chivalrous.
Yeah, I think it's chivalrous. They meet while they were trying to do a theater production, and they quickly are attracted to each other's personalities, which later in the film it comes out that Danny is gay, so that doesn't work out. Which leaves poor little Lady Bird heartbroken. The second love is kind of the rebound. Kyle, who is played by Timothy Chalamet.
Chalamet.
Chalamet is a French.
Yeah, he's so French.
Timothy Chalamet, Kyle, is that classic cool guy who's in a band who's kind of like jaded and over it, even though he's only like 17. I believe Lady Bird falls in love with his nonchalantness and how like out of touch with society he is, or like trying like counter culture he is.
He's kind of just, he's over it.
Yeah, but
at 17 or 18.
Yeah, he kind of like dampers on the activities that Lady Bird really likes. So I mean, we've all been in relationships with somebody is like kind of like not your vibe, but you just are with them because they're like hot. And that's who Kyle is. We also have Larry, Miguel, and Shelly. Larry is Lady Bird's dad, who he's the soft dad. Everyone loves him. But it is brought up throughout the film that he is dealing with depression, and he doesn't often show it to his family, aside from Marion, the mother. So it's kind of not present to the rest of the characters until like the very end. And Miguel and Shelly, Miguel is their adoptive son. I believe he's adopted.
Yeah, most likely, yeah.
And he is a college graduate who is still living with them. And then his girlfriend Shelly is, I don't know too much about her. We just know that she was kicked out of her home, and the McPhersons took them in.
Yeah, it's kind of evident how much the parents care, and Larry, to take in Shelly, into the family. So let's get right into it. How did you like this movie?
Well, it's definitely one of my favorite films. I feel like I relate to it a lot. It almost, like, in first watching it, it almost feels like this movie was written about me. I feel like I connect a lot with the character Lady Bird, and I feel like my relationship with my own mother is pretty much the same. Probably not as boisterous, but definitely the same energy.
Okay, I can kind of see that with your mother, but I don't know. I didn't like this film so much the first time I saw it. I was a little disappointed. I don't know if it was just my expectations were too high, but I hadn't seen it since we saw it in theaters, which was, I guess, when it came out.
Yeah, 2017.
And rewatching it this time, I really enjoyed it. It's a very smart, like, funny film. Has some very subtle comedy throughout, and I enjoyed all of the characters. I especially like some of like the subplots going on. It's kind of it's a rich movie in that regard. So getting into kind of our interpretation of the movie, when I initially watched it, I was like, oh, this is just a coming of age movie with a female protagonist. Big whoop.
Yeah, it's so much more than that.
Yeah, it is a little bit more than that.
Well, I, who am a big consumer of coming of age, I feel like it's definitely one of those that is a lot more pronounced and deeper than other coming of ages.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I wrote like a book on my interpretation of the movie. So let me get into that. So it's obviously a character study. We talked about that at the end of the last episode. But yeah, so getting into Lady Bird as a character. So you mentioned it. She comes across as like this quirky. She's like borderline manic pixie dream girl, right?
Right.
She's like super cool, eclectic. She has dyed red hair. She's rebellious. She made up her own name, which is like the most ridiculous thing that she does. And she even runs for like class president with these crazy posters, even though she knows she's not going to win. Like, that's cool. But in rewatching it this time, I was like, she's actually not really a manic pixie dream girl.
Right.
Because all of her life experiences and even the things that she has enjoyed, she's actually pretty square. Like, she goes to this Catholic school and she like tries to be rebellious.
Yeah, she tries.
But then she's just like caught up in everything anyway.
Right.
And enjoys it. So like, this is mentioned near the end of the movie. She does have bad taste in music. Like, that's not cool. She dreams about suburban tranquility while she admires Danny's grandma's house.
Yeah.
Like the blue house on the street. Like, okay, so you want to live in the suburb in Sacramento.
How quirky.
Yeah. And then, what else do I have? So, oh yeah, she even lies about living there, which isn't cool to like the cool girl in school.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when she has the chance to like skip out on prom, she's
like, I actually want to go to prom.
She actually prefers to go to prom. But this is only after convincing her best friend, who she's been neglecting recently to hang out with the cool kids, to go with her. So it's not like you know what? I am going to go to prom.
It's like, I can't go to prom without my best friend.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? I do want to go to prom, but I need somebody to go with me. And it's like, I mean, it's pretty square. I don't know. She's actually kind of a loser.
I mean, yeah. And, like, in the perspective of Lady Bird, she's kind of a cool girl.
Yeah.
But when you look further out, she is kind of a loser. She mainly only hangs out with one girl, which is Julie, who isn't her in herself, like, wouldn't be seen as a cool girl.
Yeah.
I feel like grown-up me would think that, does think that someone like Julie is super cool, but, like, when I was in high school, I'd be like, yeah, Julie's just that girl, I guess.
I mean, she's like a mathlete or
yeah,
something.
she's a mathlete.
She's like, you know, a great actor in the theater. She's great at math. And I don't know, she's just not cool.
Sorry. I wanted to mention because you said something about her red hair. I said radiates main character energy, which in anime is like, it's always the person with pink hair or something like that. Yeah. Everyone else has like brown, brunette hair, and then that one person has pink hair.
That's kind of another thing. It's not even nice red hair. It's like, it's pretty.
It's definitely like home dyed.
Yeah, it's like kind of mangy looking. I don't know. It's not very good.
Kind of like my hair.
Yeah, so I have, like, she's actually kind of a loser. She's very self-centered, dismissive, and overall just attracted to attention more than anything else.
That's what every teenager girl wants.
All of that to say that I actually really appreciate a character study with such a flawed and confused and naive 18-ish-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Like, it's not your average coming of age story. Is the coming of age story of like
a real person,
a very real person.
Yeah. I think when we were watching some kind of interviews with Greta Gerwig, she had mentioned like none of it is true, or none of it happened to me, but it's all true, or something like that.
Yeah, she was like, none of this actually happened, but it's all true. I think it's what she said. Yeah, it's good. It's really good. Let's see. Yeah, so ultimately, her Lady Bird's journey culminates with her realizing just how selfish she's been. And it only took her getting away, being independent, or actually dependent on only herself for a shorter period of time to gain this clarity that she gets at the end. And I really appreciate the end of the movie. And yeah, overall, it had a big impact on the interpretation that I had in the movie. Yeah. What about you? Did I leave anything for you to interpret?
Well, Ryan wrote a book. I wrote one sentence, which I told him is the same thing between being a psychology major and an English major. Okay. Like, we have to be so concise. And I wrote, my interpretation of the film is just a simple, I wouldn't say simple, like a chaotic love story between a mother and a daughter and the world that you come from. Pretty much just the same thing, like appreciating what you have and kind of living in the moment versus like constantly chasing dreams. Like, it's okay to chase dreams, but you also have to like sit with yourself and realize what you have and how grateful you can be for the things that you are able to do and that you are able to access.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting. The last movie we watched, There Will Be Blood, which is kind of about a father and son. This movie is very much about a daughter and mother. Yeah. And I thought that was pretty interesting. I didn't think about that.
I did also have a relation, because you were talking about the house. Yeah. There's a big portion of like Lady Bird's dreams about living in this blue house. Yeah. And Daniel's dream as well was living in a house by the sea, I feel like now every person who wants to be successful just wants to live in a house.
I mean, living in a house has
a dream. Everyone successful has a dream house. Like, if you don't have a dream house, think one up and you will be successful.
Was there a specific scene or like moment in the movie that kind of shaped your interpretation?
I have two. Okay. My first one is going to be a scene in which Lady Bird and her mother are thrift shopping and and they're having an okay time. They're like finding stuff that are cute, and then at some point Lady Bird drags her feet and her mom's like, "Are you tired?" And she's like, what? And she's like, well, you were dragging your feet. Are you tired? And she's like, why didn't you just tell me to pick up my feet if it's bothering you?
Yeah, you're being passive aggressive.
Yeah. And then they're like barking at each other, and then Lady Bird finds a really cute dress, or Marion does, one of them. And then they're like, oh my god, they're like fighting with each other. They're like, I can't believe you don't know. Oh my god, that's such a cute dress. Oh my god. And I feel like that's such a like a mom relationship moment.
Yeah, it's really good. I also had a hard time like picking like one scene, but that's the one that I wanted to choose
Oh
because
no.
it's like I don't know, it definitely just puts everything about their relationship in one sentence of a scene, basically.
Honestly. And my next one is also a mother-daughter scene, and that's when Lady Bird kind of goes behind her mother's back to apply to New York colleges. And this is done behind her back because they do not have the funds to send her away to college. So Marion finds out, and Lady Bird is like kind of like stuck in this kind of traumatizing state where her mother will not talk to her.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if any of you guys have been there, but it can suck.
Yeah, she's much less concerned with how she like went behind her mom's back or how upset her mom is, but the main thing that really gets her is like her mom will not even talk to her, like won't even look at her.
Yeah, she's like literally begging her mom to like talk to her and
like getting in her face, like look at me.
Marion is like not having it. She's like completely blocking Lady Bird out, and I think that's such a powerful like series of scenes of her trying to communicate with her mother and Marion just shutting down.
Yeah, no, I like those two scenes as ones that you chose. If anything else, I was gonna bring up not necessarily the ending of the movie, but after Lady Bird, not even one scene, but after she goes to New York, and you see her on her own, and she is very out of her element. I think maybe the conversation that she has with the one guy at the party, where she doesn't introduce herself as Lady Bird. As Lady Bird, she introduced herself as Christine, and I'm like, man, like I was picking up on her confusion like throughout the movie, but she really has no idea what she's doing.
Yeah.
That's probably the one moment that I was like, okay, yeah, this girl don't know what she's doing.
Right. It's like you strive so hard to be one thing, but once you step out of your element and you're not comfortable, you like retract yourself.
Yeah, exactly. She goes back to
being
what she knows, basically. So for this next part, let's go into kind of how the film fits into the director's collection of work. Greta Gerwig, obviously, is the director. This was her first solo direction.
Yeah, solo direct.
Yeah. I thought she had directed Frances Ha.
Yeah.
But she didn't. Noah Baumbach, her husband or boyfriend at the time, I'm not sure what their relationship was at the time, actually directed that. Yeah, but she was
co-wrote it.
Yeah, she was a writer with them and obviously learned a lot of the direction process in that movie. Have you seen Frances Ha?
I tried, but I think I've tried to watch it pretty late at night and I've fallen asleep each time. I don't think there's too much spoken word in it. It might be all... Wait, there's...
Spoken word?
Like...
I haven't seen any of it.
I think... I don't know. It's either just a really quiet movie or like there's no talking in it at all.
You just had the volume turned down.
Maybe I just had the volume turned down. It does look very beautiful, but I have not been able to fully watch it just because I always try to watch it late at night and then I fall asleep.
Okay, all right. Fair enough. I haven't seen it. Following Lady Bird in 2017, she did Little Women in 2019. We have our own issues with Little Women, I think, independently of each other. Maybe we'll save that for another time. But I didn't really enjoy Little Women. I much prefer the Christian Bale version.
Yeah, the 1993-94 version. I don't know if it's because I hold it to such a great expectation.
You have a really high standard of Little Women, I think.
Yeah. It was Yeah, we might have to save it for another video.
Okay, all right, we'll get into that later. Okay, her next movie is actually a movie on Barbie. It's going to be a live action.
It's going to be live action?
Yeah, Margot Robbie is going to be Barbie.
Wow, okay.
Sounds... I'm not sure.
It could be good. I'm not... After Little Women, I'm not going to hold too much expectations for it because I don't want to be disappointed again. But I mean, I'm excited to see Greta Gerwig's interpretation of what Barbie could be. Her interpretation of Little Women was different from mine, and I do appreciate the differentness, but I just didn't like it.
All right, fair enough. So obviously, Lady Bird is played by Saoirse Ronan.
Saoirse.
Yes, Saoirse. I just keep saying it. We did a warm up before we started filming, and just saying her name.
Oh, I guess I didn't even say Saoirse.
Yeah, you only said Danny Lucas.
Timothy Chalamet.
Oh yeah, you did. We'll get into the characters, the actors.
Yeah.
It's fine. Anyway, Saoirse Ronan, she got her major break in 2007's Atonement at just 13 years of age. She really stole the show in that movie. I don't know if you've seen it.
I've never seen it, no.
She's just like this... I think she just plays like the little sister who has this look on her face throughout the whole movie. And I don't know, it's really good. But she's definitely like softened up her face as she's gotten a little older. I think her major breakthrough as like a protagonist was in the movie Hannah in 2011, which I saw a long time ago.
I also saw that a long time ago. I was quite impressed with her. I've never seen her as an actress before. I didn't quite like the movie, but I was very impressed by her acting in Hannah. So I mean,
and then we had Brooklyn in 2015, which I haven't seen, but she plays like an Irish immigrant. Okay. So that seems like a much more natural state than a Sacramento teenager.
I did see like there was a trivia that was like the hardest word for her to pronounce in Lady Bird was the word perfect, which I think is hilarious.
That is really funny, actually. So then after Lady Bird, she did Mary, Queen of Scots, which we saw, but I don't even think you really remember seeing it.
I don't remember seeing it.
It's not that great.
We watched it at the same time as The Favorite, and I think I'm mixing the two up.
Yeah.
Though I did like The Favorite better than
Mary, Queen of Scots.
Mary, Queen of Scots.
Interestingly, he has Margot Robbie in it as well. Then, of course, she stars in Little Women. We'll save that. And then her most recent film, I think that is has finished production, is The French Dispatch, a Wes Anderson movie that I'm very excited about. I think it's going to be interesting. It has some different actors this time. So I'm pretty excited for it.
I will say I didn't mind Saoirse Ronan's acting as Jo in Little Women. Okay. I was more concerned about the writing and direction of Jo versus her acting. Okay, so I'm not. Enough. That's it.
Yeah, don't want to get too into Little Women. I had major concerns with like the overall casting of Little Women, but anyway, So how does this? If you think of Saoirse Ronan, you think of Lady Bird.
Yeah, right? I thought it was kind of a crazy role for her because I feel like she's always played such serious characters. Yeah. So I was very, very excited to see her in a very regular role.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But it's also very comedic.
Yeah, really good comedic timing.
Yeah, I think it was very cool to see her in a different place as far as her acting goes.
Yeah. All right, so now let's talk about the person who I really wanted to talk about, their performance, Laurie Metcalf. I think she steals every scene that she's in. Personally, everybody knows her from Roseanne, or now renamed The Connors, which she has starred as Aunt Jackie since 1988. That's a long time. Yeah. She also, I didn't know this, she voices Andy's mom in Toy Story.
Okay, I can see that now.
In every movie, so that's a recurring role for her.
She loves being a mom.
I've never seen Big Bang Theory, but she plays Sheldon's mom in that. She's like in one episode a season for its entire run. Of course, she plays Lady Bird's mom, and then she's also an actual mother of 4, which I thought was interesting because I've always known her as Aunt Jackie, who is just this like childless, crazy aunt.
Spinster.
Yeah, spinster. Yeah, exactly. She's a spinster in Roseanne, but she is such a great mother, it seems. So that has to come from experience, I think.
There's just some people, like, they're born to play moms. Like, Dennis Quaid is born to be a dad and everything that he plays. I can't even think of a film where he doesn't play a dad.
Yeah. We'd have to watch something very old, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just happy to see Laurie Metcalf in such a prominent role overall. Have you never?
I've never seen
watched
it. No, I've never watched Roseanne.
I mean, she's been in a ton of movies, but most of them, like 90% of them, are super small roles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, she has a great acting ability.
Yeah, I don't know. I love her. Yeah, so of course, Laurie Metcalf's performance really stands out for me. Any other performances or aspects of the movie that stand out?
Aspects. Yeah. All right.
I got a lot.
I got a lot. All right. So not performances, but like there's this little kind of scene that I want to talk about with Larry, the dad, and Miguel. And this is towards the end of the film. Larry is without a job throughout the film. And and he's struggling to like really put himself out there and pick up at a new job, but we do see one interview where he is trying really hard to like impress his interviewer, but the interviewer is like some college frat boy who's like, these engineers are like babies, and he's like, yeah, you know, Larry being an old man, he's like, yeah, well, I have tons of experience. He's like, yeah, but they're babies.
Yeah, it's really, it upset me that near the end of that interview scene, he actually asked Larry, the interviewee.
The interviewer asked Larry.
Yeah.
So what are we supposed to do?
Anything else we need to do here? And Larry was like, I thought maybe we could go over the position.
Yeah. There was that, and then right after the interview, he walks with Lady Bird, and Lady Bird is like, how'd the interview go? And he's like, let's go get some, like, dessert or something.
Whatever they do.
Yeah. And as they're walking out, Miguel, who is typically, like, very alternative dressed, like, kind of punky, has nose rings.
Yeah.
We see him in a full suit with his nose ring out. You know, all his piercings are out. He looks very professional. And they realize that they are going for the same job. And like, you know, Larry does what any loving father would do. And it's like, fix his tie and says, hey, go kill it in there. You know, I think that's so sweet. I have such a deep love for like parental kind of relationships. I've always been into like mother and daughter relationships as far as movies go, but I've recently, as more films come out about fatherhood, have come into loving delving into like father and son relationships as well. Here, you can go and talk about one of your things.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Let's see. I wrote down that the dad is just so cool. I mean,
yeah, dude, he's so chill.
You know, he does go behind Laurie Metcalf's, the mom's, back. What's her name?
Mary?
Yeah, Mary. And he does go behind her back to help Lady Bird with these college applications. But he loves his daughter. He's going to help her. He knows that that it's going to upset Marion, but
his wife.
Yeah, but
you know, he loves his daughter.
Yeah, and he knows at the end of the day, it's most important to do the best you can for them. Yeah, let's see. I got quite a bit of stuff. So, um, yeah, so that kind of ties into how finance
Mm-hmm.
and kind of there's like a lower class or lower middle class kind of theme running throughout the film.
Yeah.
Um,
Lady Bird mentions she lives on the wrong side of the tracks, and that really gets to Marion.
Yeah.
Like, gets under her skin.
Yeah, I think she says, "Do you think we wanted to live in this house for
Yeah.
25 years or whatever it's been?" You know.
Yeah, it's like, do you think we want to be poor or something like that?
Yeah. So it has that running throughout. It's also recently post 9/11. It's
Mhm.
like taking place in like
2002.
I think it starts in 2002, and then we see
jump into 2003.
New Year's of 2003,
Mhm.
and there's like this war backdrop going on throughout.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I kind of wanted to hit on was similarly the theme of like there's like a contrasting ideologies throughout the film between in Lady Bird's world between like liberalism and conservatism.
Mhm.
So we see her actually gain access to the blue house that she adores so much when she's
Dating
going out
Danny.
when she's dating Danny. It's his grandmother's house. What a coincidence, right? And she's getting a little tour, and she sees a poster of Ronald Reagan, and she's like, "Are you serious? There's a poster of Ronald Reagan in this, or a portrait, maybe?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, it's not a joke."
Yeah. She's like, "Is this a joke?" And he's like, "No."
Yeah, I mean, it's a funny scene because you definitely look at Lady Bird and you think, oh yeah, she's like your classic like manic pixie proto feminist teenager.
Yeah.
You know? So there's that. You know, obviously she doesn't agree with Ronald Reagan's politics,
Right.
but then at the same time, very early on, we see her at the breakfast table. Marion's making eggs. Miguel and Shelley talk about how veganism is better or something.
Yeah.
That they got some soy milk, that she shouldn't even be making eggs or eating eggs. But she doesn't agree with that either.
Right.
And then when she starts dating Kyle, that's his name, Kyle is like,
oh yeah, when they first have sex, she's like, that was it, and she was like, I'm so disappointed. And he's like, look, you're gonna have disappointing sex your whole life, so.
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, I'm sad about this, and he's like, well, there's literally people dying in Iraq right now, and she's like, shut up, like I'm allowed to be sad that my first time having sex sucks.
Yeah. So it's you know it's there in the foreground,
Mm-hmm.
in the very near background, I should say, that this war is going on. Kyle's very liberal. He's reading Howard Zinn, which she starts to read herself.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like when she first sees him at the coffee shop, he's reading Howard Zinn, and then the next time you see her, she is also reading Howard Zinn. And anyway, I had a little bit of an issue with that because I would think that a character like Lady Bird, raised in this particular household,
Mm-hmm.
would have a symbiotic relationship with a certain ideology.
Right.
But she kind of scoffs at both liberal veganism, Reaganomics, but then when it suits her, she's like,
don't be Republican. That's what she said to Julie.
She did say that. But then when it suits her, she was like, oh yeah, maybe cell phones really are. What are they?
Tracking devices.
Yeah, maybe cell phones really are tracking devices. That's really deep. And it's like, come on, kid. Like, what are you doing? Like, just find something to believe in. I don't know. That's one thing that kind of bothered me.
Okay. I did want to, it's not like, it's something that I find that I saw this time around. There was a lot of mention of suicide in this film, which also falls into the depression that's also mentioned in the film.
Yeah.
I didn't notice it so much the first time, but the second time I felt like it was pretty prevalent. Which, I mean, you know, everyone who's an adult at this point has, and she talks about like not living through something. And can you imagine this? It's 2002. Like, you lived through 9/11. Like,
yeah. I mean, come on. you might not realize it now, but you lived through 9/11.
Yeah.
So, that's a pretty big thing.
So I thought, I mean, I didn't think it was cool, but I did feel like, it goes to show how oblivious Lady Bird is to like the world around her and how she's so focused on herself and getting out, right, essentially.
Yeah.
I do want to kind of give a shout out to Beanie, who is played by. Oh wait, that is Beanie. That's her name.
I believe Beanie Feldstein.
Yeah, Beanie Feldstein. Yeah. I absolutely adore her. She is so cute, and she did such a great job being Julie. I do feel like it's a little typecasted, but it's fine. That is who Julie is, I guess, or who Beanie.
Yeah, I can see Lady Bird and Julie being good friends.
Right.
Honestly.
Yeah. Can I? Yeah.
But yeah, Beanie was just.
She's so
absolutely hilarious.
We talked about the Blue House. Is there any other?
So I got a couple of like negative things that I kind of knocked the movie for.
Okay.
Let's see. So, let's start with we talked about how funny it is. There's some really hilariously written scenes, like the one in the thrift store where they're like arguing like super loud with each other, and then they find a dress and they're like, oh my god, and their entire
instantly
tone
like best friends.
Yeah, like that's absolutely hilarious. But then at the same time, there's these like overt comedies or overt comedic scenes happening throughout the movie. One of which, Father Leviatch, who I will talk about again in a few moments, but. He puts on puts on a play that he directs, and then this is a great example of really good comedy. After the play, they're all mingling with the audience members and stuff, and Lady Bird sits down to down next.
Beanie.
It was Beanie.
Yeah, it was
Beanie. Oh yes,
Julie.
Yes, it was Julie. She had just been introduced to Mr. Bruno's wife.
Yeah, which kind of like she's here for it, but also like devastated.
Yeah, it really ruined her chances with Mr. Bruno.
Yeah, solidified that she's a real person.
Yeah. She sits down to Father Leviatch. She is just sitting there as depressed as ever, and he says, "Nobody got it." Talking about the play, like that's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, I meant to look up whether it was a real play or something that he created.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that scene kind of shows that it might have been something that he created.
Yeah, I think so. But anyway, that scene is absolutely hilarious. It's nothing like not over the top, But then at the same time, he leaves the theater directing position. He might have left the school. He could have killed himself. I don't know. He's not in the rest of the movie, but he is replaced. The new theater director is the football coach, and he's like
classic Mean Girls. Like, if you have sex, you're gonna die.
Yeah, but he's like, they're going through blocking, and he's like writing up like a football play on the chalkboard behind him.
He's like, "Oh, this is singing. Yeah. Then you going hard,
like it's funny, but I feel like it just doesn't fit with the rest of the movie.
Yeah, I do feel like it's very caricature-y of what a high school coach is like.
Yeah, and that really bothered me. It took me out of the movie. Likewise, there is, we talked about kind of the themes running throughout with 9/11, war, depression. But then you also have a couple of moments of overt symbolism. So one of them that I want to bring up is at the end of the movie, Lady Bird has gotten into this school. I think it's New York University.
Mm-hmm.
She is packing her stuff, and throughout the movie, we see her room, which is very eclectic. Walls have writing on them and stuff. She has written both Danny's name and Kyle's name on the walls. And then there's this tiny moment during a montage in which she is painting the walls white. And that just drives me crazy, because I was like, oh my god, Lady Bird has this clean slate. Like, of course she does. She's moving to New York. Like, I don't need to see her paint her walls
that's
white.
realistic though, because I had to do the same thing. Okay, I told Ryan that he has to put either a video or
I'm gonna put it.
No audio. Or a picture of my room. It literally looks the same, just green. And when I moved out, I had to, paint it white, and it's whatever symbolism, sure, I guess, in a movie, but it in the same way, it's realistic. It's something that happens because it happened to me.
All right, maybe it is something that happens, but I didn't need to see a quick
in the
clip
symbolism, at the beginning of the film, the first sound we hear is birds chirping.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which I thought was the first time I saw it, I didn't even notice, but the second time,
Yeah,
I guess I didn't really hear it, but the subtitles was like bird chirping. I was like, oh, interesting.
Yeah, subtitles definitely help sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, at the very beginning of the movie, this gets me to my next point. There is a quote from Joan Didion on the screen. I didn't write it down, but it's talking about Sacramento.
Right.
And the movie itself, it begins with that quote. It begins with a conversation between Lady Bird and her mother about Sacramento. She says, like, do I look like I'm from Sacramento? Whatever that means.
Yeah.
And it ends with Sacramento, too. Lady Bird's in New York, but she's talking about driving through Sacramento for the first time. I don't know why I'm getting choked up. But the thing that bothered me is that the movie is like this homage to Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I felt like there wasn't any like Sacramento-ness in the movie. I don't know. I've never been to Sacramento. But it didn't show like, I don't know, it didn't show that much of the city. It showed the school. It showed the coffee shop. Maybe that's all Sacramento has. Right. It did have that one montage with Lady Bird and Danny like going dancing through the garden. But that's it. Besides that montage at the end with Lady Bird driving. Mm-hmm. And that, I don't know how a movie can be like an homage
about something but not show it.
Yeah, and that kind of bothered me.
Okay. I will say, though, in reading Didion, I definitely felt like the montages of Sacramento felt like Didion writing. I'm sure you haven't read her, or you, read a page.
I read and recorded myself reading an entire, whatever you call it. Essays.
Yeah.
An entire essay, so you can listen to it and fall asleep to it.
Yeah, so if you have not read Joan Didion, she will write every single thing that she observes about anything.
Yeah. It's a little long-winded.
Yes. Also. So I definitely felt like in seeing the montages, I definitely felt like something Joan Didion would have written out, like all the little things that she sees within Sacramento. So I did like that perspective.
Okay.
But yeah, I do agree. Like, if you're going to be like, I hate Sacramento, like, show us why you hate it so much.
That's a very good point. Don't show us like the house that you really like in Sacramento. I don't know.
Well, I mean, that also goes to it, like there's things about Sacramento that she loves that she doesn't realize how much she loves it until she leaves.
Okay, maybe that's why they left all of Sacramento out until the end. I don't know.
It's the tiny things. Let's see.
Anything else you got for performances or aspects?
I did write down I hate his guts, and that's about Kyle. I hate everything about Kyle. I think he's written well. He's definitely somebody that, in watching him, you know that guy. And you also hate him.
Yeah, so the funny thing about the cell phones, okay, he says that cell phones are tracking devices that we buy ourselves for the government to track us. And he's like, yeah, everybody's going to have one eventually. And then, fucking 2 days later, they're going to the prom, and he's, calling somebody on his cell phone. Did you notice that?
Well, I don't think he said he didn't have one.
No, he said everyone's gonna have one eventually or something.
Okay.
But I mean, come on. I hate this guy.
Yeah, we all hate this guy. I think that's pretty much it that I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. I do want to talk about Danny singing Giants in the Sky. Okay. I thought it was a Vine, or I thought it was a TikTok that I kept thinking of, because I would hear it like, they're giant... whatever, the song, I can't sing it. Anyways, but like I would constantly play that in my head, and I didn't know where it came from, and then I remembered, in rewatching it, I was like, oh, that's where it is. Because every time I hear it in my head, I get so excited for no reason. Yeah, Into the Woods.
Yeah, it's from Into the Woods. But
Danny's rendition is so much better, even though it's like a split second of it.
Well, I was going to knock it for that, because Into the Woods came out in like 2010 or something like that. Yeah, but
it's like a play.
Yeah, it's like an old song.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I can't knock it for that.
And then I wrote that it was smart that Lady Bird wore red lipstick to her audition, because a true queen knows to always wear red lipstick when your mouth is involved in any performance.
Yeah, yeah. You can track it on RuPaul's Drag Race. Just about every queen with a bright colored lipstick wins the lip sync, as long as they know the words.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. You finished up?
Yeah.
You ready to give your final grade of the film?
Yes, I'm so ready. I am actually ready this time.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
You're gonna give the breakdown, the quick breakdown.
Quick breakdown. Well, it's okay. My overall rating is going to be a 9.7, which is pretty high. Which is the only things I really knocked, like everything got 10s except for the sound and music, which got a 9. I feel like there's a lot of movies where I'm like, ooh, this song is from this movie. Ooh, like I can't stop singing the song. Which this Lady Bird only had that one song, Crash Into Me, which I'm pretty sure is by John Mayer, who I hate.
No, it's by Dave Matthews.
Same guy, whatever. And then editing, I did feel like it had really good editing, but it wasn't like spectacular.
Okay.
Which I gave it a 9 for as well. And then originality, it is a coming of age movie. But I do feel like it's a lot different than other ones. But because it's such a common trope, I did just knock it down 1 point, which is a 9 as well.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, obviously my enjoyment is 100%, so that's a 10. But yeah.
Yeah, 9.7.
9.7.
Okay, I got it a little lower. I think I don't know what I rated it the first time I saw it, but this time I'm gonna give it an 8.6.
Okay.
Yeah, there were definitely some moments that really took me out of the movie. I did laugh a lot more watching it this time, but at the end of the day, maybe I can't relate to it that well, and it's not like a special movie to me.
Yeah, I will say, out of all the movies that I really enjoy, this one is a lot harder to repeatedly watch. Like, I will watch Room a million times.
Yeah.
But I think this is just too rich for me to watch a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
So I do feel like, I don't know, it relates a little bit too much to home, where it like makes me emotional, and like I kind of have to sit down and watch it, versus like other movies, I know how they go. I want to just do some busy work while I'm watching this film.
Yeah,
or like,
for me, I'm much more interested in Mary and the mother. I'm much more interested in the father, even even Father Leviatch. I could watch a whole movie on him. Which brings me to the next part. That's my favorite moment in this movie, is when they sit down in the rehearsal, in the theater rehearsal, and they're playing the game in which you see who can cry first.
Oh.
And Father Leviatch is directing them to what they're doing, and he's like, and whoever the assistant is, and himself will also play along, I think he says.
Play along.
And I don't know, 20 seconds later, he's already bawling.
Like, all these teens are like... and then he's like... Yeah, he's
but it's such
crying his eyes out.
So good. He looks...
he's so, like, devastated.
He's so pathetic looking.
Oh, God.
That's my favorite moment.
Oh, that's so sad.
Well, it's hilarious to me, though.
Oh, man.
There's comedy in that moment.
Yeah.
What's your one favorite thing?
My one favorite thing. My one favorite thing.
It's kind of tough.
It is really tough. I don't know. My one favorite thing probably has to be Danny singing Giants in the Sky.
Okay,
I
right.
think about it a lot and it makes me happy.
Okay.
I love theater. I wish I could do theater, but I'm just not that kind of person.
And you're too scared to sing it.
I am too scared to sing it.
Okay.
I'm not a good singer.
All right.
But yeah, I wish I had that playing. I wish it was my ringtone. I just want to hear it all the
On
time.
your like flip phone,
Yeah.
cell phone. Okay, well, that's pretty much it for this podcast.
Mhm.
For the next podcast, here are the 3 choices that we're going to give you. We're going to keep up with the bird theme from Lady Bird. So we got A. The first movie is going to be The Birds from Alfred Hitchcock, the 1963 horror movie.
Yeah, we've never. Have you seen it?
So I have seen a couple clips, I think from like a film class.
Mm-hmm.
It is terrifying to me for
Yeah.
some reasons that aren't so obvious, but
Okay.
yeah.
I've never seen it, so I am pretty excited to watch this.
Yeah. Option 2 or B or whatever is going to be Birdman, the 2014 Academy Award winner. Did it win?
I think it won.
I think it did win by Alejandro Inarritu. And then C is going to be the new movie, the new Harley Quinn movie, Birds of Prey, by Kathy Yan, who is, I believe, making her first directorial feature film. She's Japanese or Chinese? I need to do some more research on her.
Yeah.
But yeah. Check out the survey and let us know what you want to watch next. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. As always, subscribe to our channel. Also, share us with your friends. Like, we want people to watch these things. So put us out there. We're really excited.
Shout us
about
out, dudes.
Yeah.
Follow us on Instagram, which is There Will Be Blood. It's There Will Be Podcast. My bad.
Yes. Follow us on Instagram at There Will Be Podcast.
And then on Twitter, we are Pod from a Basket.
Yes.
And now, ending this episode, we are going to leave you with some parting words, which is going to be a new segment that we install where we just say our favorite quotes while the end title card plays.
Yeah, so cue the parting words. And thanks for watching.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
There's no role of the Tempest.
It is the titular role.
No, it's a made-up thing so we can all participate.
You can't do anything unless you're the center of attention, can you?
Yeah, well, your mom's tits, they're fake, totally fake.
She made one bad decision at 19.
2 bad decisions!